the problem with solo leveling. How far into Naruto do you make it before you get the first like filler arc? I have watched literally 5 minutes of fucking waves crashing against a boat.
Ace dies. He said, when you post this, I know a lot of people are going to come from my neck.
This is less artsy. This is faster paced. This is going to be a little bit of a controversial one, but I didn't like this week's episode of Don. A lot of people hate on Jobless Reincarnation, but give a pass to Don. I voted for Anime of the Year last year, actually. I didn't vote Solo Leveling. I didn't vote Free Ren. I know that was kind of like the big battle of like, it should have been Free Ren. It should have been Solo Leveling. You have Solo Leveling fans, and then you have anime fans.
I hate when people are just like, oh, it's all action, it's no story. I'm like, how do you figure?
The issue with Solo Leveling story to me is that it feels like missed opportunity. He probably thinks I'm bigger than him. Like,
dude, like I'm saying, I look at you, like, especially too, because like for like squatting, just because of my right knee still, like I won't go much higher than like 405. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just, it's a safe weight for me. It's heavy enough, but it's a safe weight. So like when I see you out there, you know, squatting like 530 something, you know, for a couple of reps, I'm like, dang, he's a big dude. I know he's a big dude, you know. But it's funny because like you said, the whole like skinny guy like syndrome is still inside me. You know, I still play basketball, and I've always been a point guard for like how small I was. I still play like a point guard, even being, you know, 220. But what's hilarious is that when I play against dudes now at the court who are still roughly smaller than me, now they bounce off me like little ping-pong balls, and I'm not used to that. Where it's like now I need to be in the post or something because now I'm just like bodying these dudes, and it's so hilarious. I felt bad. I sent this little kid flying.
You're just like, yeah, kick into post. You're like, no, I'm a point guard. They're like, no, you're fucking not. Get into the post,
dude. Literally every single time now. But it's hilarious. I felt so bad, dude. I sent this like kid. I mean, he was a kid. He's probably like 17, 18 years old. But he was guarding me, and I just drove to the basket and kind of, you know, ducked the shoulder a little bit for contact. And I swear he flew like 100 feet. Like he just kept going, trying not to lose his balance. It was the funniest thing. And I was like, oh, I'm big now.
Today, I am joined here by Chris, aka Blurred Street, aka Depressed Mario. And today we are going to be talking about the problem with solo leveling. So that's going to be kind of our main topic of the day. And after we kind of cover that, we're going to be jumping into a bit of a Q&A. But before we dive into that, we're going to be doing a little bit of anime talk about what we're currently doing. So let's start there. What is your favorite thing that you are currently watching right now?
That's hilarious. Like, it's funny because I feel like I'm watching so many things right now. The summer drop of anime was huge. Naruto is my favorite anime of all time. I'm currently rewatching it again for the umpteenth time, which is kind of funny. And I feel like every time I rewatch it, there's something new that I notice, right? But not including Naruto, I'd say right now I'm watching Gachi Yakuta. And I think so far, it's so early, but I love this anime so far. The animation for it is different. It's kind of like a mixture of some of my favorite animes, which is dope. The story so far is actually pretty cool. And then I'd say the last 3, maybe 4 episodes, they've introduced a new character like in all of them, and so far all these new characters are phenomenal. So dude, Gachi Yakuta right now kind of has my attention out of a bunch of others, but again, there's so many. But I'd say Gachi Yakuta right now is my favorite, not including Naruto. It's early, but it's awesome.
That kind of brings up like an interesting question for me. This is something I've been thinking about a bit, and it's Naruto related. So you're watching all of these like really recent anime with all this like really recent animation style, all of like the really like things look good these days, right?
Yeah.
And pacing is also much different than it was when Naruto was coming out. But I feel like of any of the older anime, Naruto has some of like the better pacing that, I guess, like just to like put it in a way of like, I feel like Naruto's pacing holds up better than like Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, like a lot of those like, older anime that were coming out at the same time. So like, what are your thoughts on that? Do you feel like the Naruto pacing holds up to like more kind of new school anime today, or do you feel like it's a little bit slow?
I think it's so it's funny with Naruto. I think it's a little bit in between, right? You go back to kind of the big 3, Bleach, One Piece, and Naruto. One Piece's pacing is absolutely horrendous. We know this. And even though I'm like so a fan, like I try not to be, you know, anime biased, right? There are issues with Naruto. Like as much as I love it, there, you know, it does have its problems. But I think like Naruto, 100% in my opinion, has the best pacing. It's not necessarily on par with, say, anime today, because anime today, it's meant for, you know, our lack of attention, our attention spans, they're just not what they used to be. You know what I mean? Especially for like the younger or newer generation of anime watchers. So that's why you get these one seasons of like 8 to 12 episodes. It's because people can't, it's hard for them to hold on to these long stories. And I think Naruto did an amazing job with, even with some of the filler that they had, and good filler. You watch other animes, like other shonens, I'll say, and their pacing just isn't as good. Their filler episodes aren't as good, so it's a little rough. But I think Naruto's animation and its pacing, for me, it has always just been much better.
Yeah, I feel like it holds up better than a lot of the other anime. How far into Naruto do you make it before you get the first like filler arc? Because I know that was one of the like really big like criticisms of Naruto, is the fact that it has like so much filler. It goes off of like script so much, and you get like all of these like big long filler arcs. So when did we kind of reach the first filler arc in Naruto?
Oh man, first filler arc. It's actually pretty deep into it, because it really does, you know, it's tuning exams, and then it's, you know, well, that's not the first arc, but you know, when you really kind of get into like really Naruto, it kind of is kind of the first arc. Then it's, you know, Sasuke retrieval, and I think right now I'm in the Sasuke retrieval arc, which is about 130 episodes in or so.
So it's like after that
exactly.
Which I guess makes sense, because it's one of those things where it's like they started putting in the filler because they were catching up to and surpassing the manga.
Exactly.
And when they started, they had lots of manga to work off of. So.
Exactly. So they didn't really need filler just yet. And the thing that's like really bugs me about like One Piece and One Piece's pacing, like the most, is that it's like one episode is one page. So like every episode after, it's like the episodes are only like 21 minutes long, and 15 of those minutes is an exact recap of the prior episode. It's like I'm watching the last episode and I'm only getting about 5 to 6 minutes of new episode for One Piece. So that's always like my biggest thing with them. It's just like, dude, like, can we just get a whole episode? Like, it's so funny. So me and you were pretty active on Threads, right? I posted something like the Wano arc from One Piece is amazing, but it could have been like 40 episodes. And dude, I got blown up, dude. I mean, like all the One Piece fans came out, which is funny because that it's the reason why I call them the Jehovah's Witnesses of anime, because you know how they are. You've seen them out there in the wild, but it's like I got murdered. And then what cracked me up is they're talking about redoing all of the One Piece arcs, and the Wano arc was literally like 46 episodes. So I was like, I told you guys, like this can be wrapped up in like 40 episodes. It did not need to be 100 and something episodes for this one arc, and everybody killed me for it. I was right. So in your faces, it's tough.
I've tried to get into One Piece several times, and actually a little bit of a spoiler, this video won't come out for like a couple months now because I'm so pre-recorded ahead, but I'm actually doing like reactions to One Piece as a One Piece hater. Not actually like a One Piece hater, but it's just like, it's the anime I've never been able to get into. I'm like, I'm going to react to this, and I'm going to just like give my genuine thoughts as I go. And I made it through halfway through the first episode. I'm like, nothing has happened. So it's like the first reaction is going to come off super hateful, because it's like, I did a half an episode. Usually when I do a half an episode of like any anime, it's like I have all these different reactions. I'm like, I have watched literally 5 minutes of fucking waves crashing against a boat. You have to be kidding me, right? So it's going to be a really hateful reaction. I'm probably going to get hate mail for it. But you know, the whole idea is like going through this process and like holding myself accountable to watching it and trying to fall in love with One Piece. But it might be a while. There might be a lot of hate before I get there.
I'm telling you right now, I had to watch it and like suffer through it, because I was like, everybody talks about this, you know, anime, and I say everybody, it's really just One Piece stands. Everyone talks about this anime, so I gotta catch up. I gotta see what Luffy's really about. I haven't watched it. It took 300 and something episodes for me to really get locked into it. It was one arc that I really liked, and it's I don't want to give too much of a spoiler. You know what? Bump it. If you haven't started watching it now, you're probably not going to. Ace dies. So like it's around the time where Luffy's brother dies, right? That arc was obviously awesome. And then after that, it gets so boring again. So you're just like, dang it, man. Like it finally starts getting good and it's boring again. And you kind of go back to your question about Naruto. I think even though Naruto's animation is a little old school, One Piece's is just really bad. Until it gets to like the Wano arc, which is like 1,000 episodes in. It's pretty bad, man. So it's really hard to even get past that. It's like the anime animation. The story's not that great at the beginning. It's rough, you know. And like you said, when you post this, I know a lot of people are going to come for my neck. You know what I mean? But like, it just, I saw something the other day. It said like all of the big three are great. It's just kind of like what you kind of like the most or what you care about the most in a sense. Naruto has great emotional arcs, right? It has this way of like making you feel just emotional things are happening. Your favorite characters are dying, things of that nature. One Piece, it's the world building. Like they're number one in that. Like it's amazing. You know what I mean? But we're emotional creatures naturally as human beings. So that's why I just feel like Naruto why it's still the number one watch anime of the three on like Netflix. You know what I mean? Even though it's been over for like what, 8 years now, something like that.
Yeah, probably longer too.
Yeah.
And so it's not just One Piece catching strays here. I have the same critique about Dragon Ball Z as I have with One Piece. Me and my fiance tried to watch Dragon Ball Z a few years back, and I'm like, man, I don't like. We were watching Kai, which is like the abridged version, like the short version,
exactly.
Right? So this is less artsy. This is faster paced, and I'm like, man, they give you like 30 seconds of waves into like 30 seconds of a butterfly into like 30 seconds of them staring at each other. And it's like, this pacing is so bad. Like this you would never get away with this in today's anime. And like, I feel like Naruto is the only of the three, One Piece, Dragon Ball Z, and Naruto, that doesn't have that issue. So yeah. But
one thing no one's ever complained about Naruto is definitely the pacing. Dragon Ball Z is a great starter anime because it's all action, right? But you're right, man. Like when you get a whole episode or two of just, Goku powering up, it's like, what are we doing here?
The thing is like, if you're watching Dragon Ball Z AMVs, you're gonna think it's like the most like action-packed show. Why is the little guy peeing on a rock? You get like so many like young Gohan penis shots, and that's crazy to me. Like I'm like, I don't remember there being this much like toddler penis in a show like before. Like, why?
Dude, seriously, like they couldn't figure anything else to do. Just if he's got to pee, use a back shot or something, so we don't have to look at him. Hilarious. It's so true.
Like,
I didn't
absolutely insane. This is the shortened version. Yeah, so Dragon Ball Z gets the same critique from me that One Piece does. But let's talk about something a little bit more current. Gachiakura. My bad. I'm so bad at getting the name of Gachiakura right. I keep wanting to say Gachikuda because that's what it looks like. Yeah. Gachiakura.
English language is a random thing.
Yeah, so I gave this week's episode a 9 out of 10. I feel pretty highly on it. I love Jabber. The flashback had me tearing up when he like found the like mannequin and he's like screaming. And then I went, okay, but why is this me as a kid as one of my notes for this week's episode? Because it's like I had such an issue with like throwing things away as a kid. Like I would get so emotionally attached to like everything. It's like, bro, this is trash. This is trash. Just throw it out, Max. But like, I really like this. But like, what were some of your thoughts on the episode? And like, you don't have to rate it if you don't want to. But if you were to give this episode a rating, what would you throw it at?
Oh, dude, I'm the same way. It's really difficult for me sometimes to give an episode a full 10 out of 10, right? But like, I'm with you, man. 9.5. The again, like I said earlier, like the last like 4 episodes, we've gotten brand new characters and Naruto just kind of, continuing on to kind of learn what his power is and how to control it. And the fact that he can kind of do this with damn near anything is a beautiful thing. And just kind of watching him.
Sorry, you froze for a second there. Keep going.
I don't know why. That was really weird. But just kind of watching him learn his powers and the fact that he can kind of do this with damn near anything was really, really, really cool. Just being able to block, all of Jabber's attacks and the ending of the episode was so dope. Like it's not over yet. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh damn, I thought this was the end, but not quite. There's going to be more. So like I said earlier, man, it's like my favorite anime I'm watching right now, and I don't know, it's so dope. I love how much it. And I think I like it a lot because they are taking kind of a lot from right. Outcast, nobody likes him. He's like I said, the outcast of the group and things of that nature. So it has a lot of Naruto aspects to it, which is probably why I like it so much so far.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, sweet. I guess, because our other blurred friend here brought it up. Have you been watching Togenanki? What are your thoughts on that?
It's dope. You know what I'm saying? I think that's another one. It's also another one that I'm really, really, that I'm watching pretty closely, week-to-week basis. The animation style is really, really cool. It's really good. It's really deep. The blood art is also awesome, really, really awesome. Kind of reminds me, not entirely, but reminds me a little bit of like bloodbending from like, Avatar: The Last Airbender a little bit, you know what I mean? But they're kind of just now getting into like the villain aspect, I think, of last week's episode. I haven't watched this week's episode yet. That's what they're kind of getting into, but so far so good. What do you think?
Yeah, no, like I like it too. It's a show that's like really fun. It's not like blowing me away or anything.
Yeah.
But like every week I'm like, this is like a solid like 6.5, 7, 7.5 out of 10. And this is like a fun watch. I enjoy watching it every week. But it's not like crazy good or anything like that. But like I feel like we also just like are not giving like a fair shot to a lot of anime in this season, because it's like you take Togenomon, you put it in like a lot of other seasons, it's like it's a top 3 anime. Right. Put it in like this season, it's like 10th. It's like there's just so much good stuff coming out. It's absolutely insane. So yeah,
we're about to get Black Clover again too,
for sure. Well, yeah, I like it, but it's just, not my favorite. And speaking of things that aren't my favorite, I think this is going to be a little bit of a controversial one, but I didn't like this week's episode of Dandadan. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it first, but I'll leave people to kind of like sit on that for a minute.
I'm trying to think if I watched this week's, and I'm not thinking about last week's. Was this week's the one where she had a job?
No, okay, that's last week's.
Last week? Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm a week behind. I think those episodes coming on Wednesday?
Thursday, I think.
Thursday? Okay, cool. Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. So unfortunately, I'm a week behind on Dandadan. But you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna watch it regardless. So give your thoughts, brother. I kind of want to hear what you're going at.
Yeah. First of all, they did like the entire episode in basically black and white.
When they do stuff like this.
So on one hand, I think you could look at that and be like, okay, this is super artsy. They're doing an artsy thing here. Mm-hmm. The budget they have, I don't want my anime to look like a manga.
Right.
Like a manga with like a little bit of like hair coloring or whatever. So to me, it felt like very like budget lazy. Mm-hmm. And it was like a training arc, but it was this like really weird training arc. And I won't give too much away of it so that I don't spoil you. But I didn't vibe with it. I will say the ending was dope. Mm-hmm. At the end, we get this like really cool moment with Okaroon, but the ending I would give like a solid like 9, 10 out of 10 for, because it was so good. And it's like, okay, Okaroon is hit. Yes, let's go. And it sets you up for what's going to be, I think, like a really good next episode. But I just didn't vibe with this episode. Like, it's like a training thing, but it was like really dumb, and just like who they were fighting, I didn't vibe with. And the black and white, I didn't vibe with. I didn't buy it. I didn't like it. And like, I'm really hard on Dandadan. I will say that. Dandadan is this like really interesting thing for me where it's really good. Mm-hmm. So it keeps going, but I have this hot take that a lot of people hate on Jobless Reincarnation, but give a pass to Dandadan for doing the same shit, if not worse. So it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, I kind of give it a pass because it's good, but at the same time, I'm like, there's just so much unnecessary use of like sexual assault that they just like treat it like a joke. Like, it's not even that I'm like against like more adult media that like shows that stuff. It's just like, I feel like there's a tone that you have when you're showing that kind of stuff that like should make a person feel a certain type of way of like, oh, like I don't like watching that. And it's good that I don't like watching that because like that's how I'm supposed to feel. But it's like they'll just like do it in an instant and make it this like super funny thing. And it's just like, this isn't funny. I don't like that you're trying to make this funny. Stop trying to make this funny. Like, so that's,
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. The episode last week where Gigi gets water on him and transforms, and he brings Miss Ayase into his little thing and like chokes her, and then like for whatever reason also slashes her blouse. It was like, why is slashing her blouse necessary? Like you didn't need to do that. He just
simply didn't need to. Yeah, I feel like the aliens in the first episode just simply didn't need to like they could just be abducting her. They don't need to have like the crazy fucking robotic penis things and like be trying to procreate, and just like It'd be fine if it was like a serious tone to it, but it's this like super joking, funny tone.
Yeah.
And then it's just like you said, like there's just this like off moment where like he's trying to kill her and they're like, oh, but I tore off her shirt. Here's some fan
exactly.
service. Like, can we not? Like, can we just not?
Yeah. If we're gonna sexualize anybody, sexualize grandma. At least she's of age.
Yeah, exactly, right? Which, you know, that's fine with me. But it's just, yeah. So I don't know. I feel like Dawn to Dawn gets my like most watchful eye of like, if it has a bad episode, I'm gonna call it out because I don't like that element of it. So whereas like other anime, I admittedly will like give more grace to. So there's two final anime I kind of want to talk about here today. One being To Be Hero X and the other being Kaiju number 8. Have you seen both of those?
I have, yeah. Kaiju number 8 was one of the ones too, especially that first season. I was like, yo, this anime could get anime of the year. And so far the second season is right back up there for me, man.
Yeah. So Kaiju number 8, I voted for anime of the year last year, actually. I didn't vote Solo Leveling. I didn't vote Free Ren. I know that was kind of like the big battle of like, it should have been Free Ren. It should have been Solo Leveling and Solo Leveling 1, which we're going to dive into pretty soon here. I voted for Kaiju number 8. I thought it was the best thing we had last year. I think season 2 is living up. I gave Kaiju number 8 a 9 out of 10 this week for the episode. I think it was really, really good. And I think it kind of suffers from this season syndrome, right? Of like, it's really, really good, but nobody's kind of talking about it because it's like, there's so much good stuff coming out with like To Be Hero X, Don Da Don. Like even Sakamoto Days is getting a lot of love right now. I know Blur Matt put that up there. To answer your question, no, I'm not watching Sakamoto Days. Are you watching Sakamoto Days?
Yeah, I'm watching Sakamoto Days. I am an episode behind on that one too. So it's funny. Sunday is like my anime day. Like so Sundays I catch up on like everything that I'm watching. So
caught you just before that. That's it.
Yeah, it's all good though. But yeah, I'll literally catch up to all of my shows tomorrow. Kaiju number 8, I think. One of the episodes comes out Sunday, so that's why I do Sundays. I just like that's like the day where everything I know is out and I can just watch it all one day.
Well, I think like Gachiakata comes out Sunday, Kaiju and To Be Hero X come out on Saturday, but it's like 10, 11 a.m. Like it's probably coming out as we're talking right now, the episodes. But yeah, so I really, really liked the Kaiju number 8. In my notes, I wrote, can we add a dubstep drop to this opening? The opening, I probably don't like it as much as like the season 1 opening, but I feel like if they added like a dubstep drop, I feel like there's this like moment where like it just like drops and I feel like it should just be like a dubstep thing there. That would make the opening 10 times better for me.
The first season the closer was so dope. I love the Kaiju number 8 closer. It's so great. I wish they would have kept it. You know how like a lot of like old school shonens, like they have that opener and that closer like for like an arc or two, you know what I mean? Like or a season or 2 or 3. I wish they would have done the same thing because both like the Dandadan's original opening was super dope. I'm against the grain. A lot of people are like, oh, the first season opener for Dandadan was so amazing. I actually really like the second one too. The second season is actually really dope. I love it. Not as much as the first, but I do love it. It's great.
I think the second season one is really good too. I'm just like such a Creepy Nuts stan.
Oh, that, like, dude, me too.
Nuts in it. It's just like so good. Like Call of the Night, I just spent the whole day yesterday catching up on season 2 of Call of the Night. And Call of the Night has Creepy Nuts for every single one of their opening and closing songs because so the closing song of season 1 is actually the song that inspired the mangaka to start writing the manga. He wrote it based off of that song. So Creepy Nuts and Call of the Night are like really, really closely tied together. And there's some like really cool lore behind the closing song in season 1. And they kind of keep coming back to it too. Anytime in season 2 where they have like a really like touching moment at the end of the episode, they start playing the season 1 closer before going into the season 2 closer. But all 4 of the songs are Creepy Nuts in Call of the Night. So I love Creepy Nuts so much. So anything uses Creepy Nuts, it's like you're not going to compete with that. If you go with a single other band that's not Creepy Nuts for your next season, it's just not going to be as good. Yeah, nobody else is using Creepy Nuts for like all their stuff. But
Mashal, you know, saying Magic and Muscles and Magic, dude. Another one's great opener, and I loved it.
Yeah, season 2, bling, 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 bang, bang, bang.
Something like that. How it sounds, that's for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, that's Kaiju number 8. I mean, it is really solid. To Be Hero X. So I would imagine you're probably caught up on this one as well because it came out last Saturday. Have you? What are your thoughts on To Be Hero X?
So I haven't really been keeping up with it too much. I did start it, and I can't remember how. I think it might be 2 weeks behind on that one.
Okay. Okay.
But not for any reason, just
Mhm.
falling between the cracks, because like we've said, there's just so much anime out right now. But I
Yeah.
really have enjoyed it. I've loved the different shifts of animation, which is really dope. Like, it's like I think the first couple episodes were like very not almost CGI-ish, you know what I mean? Which is actually
Mhm.
really, really cool. And then
Yeah.
it switches into like actual like anime animation. Like, so I don't know. It's been really, really, really dope. I just need to catch back up on it. Like I said, it's one of those ones that's kind of fallen through the cracks with me. I actually started watching, I finished and caught up on My Hero Academia. What's it called?
Vigilantes.
Vigilantes, yeah. That one's actually really dope. I actually really, really like it. It's pretty cool to see like a different spin with when it's not on the class 1A kids.
Shout out, I just put up my reaction to my first reaction to Vigilantes the other day. I feel like it's my best video on YouTube yet. But yeah, so To Be Hero X. So full disclosure, I gave this latest episode a 10 out of 10. And
oh, dang. Okay.
I don't love giving 10 out of 10s, but I feel like To Be Hero X has this really interesting way of they've been like setting seeds since they've started the anime. And this is episode 20, and they didn't bring everything together because they're not done yet, but they like sprouted a lot of those seeds this last episode, right? They tied a lot of loose ends off. You get this like the very first thing you see in episode 1 is you see the original Nice jumping off a building and killing himself.
Yeah.
And then, the first arc starts with like new Nice, like somebody replacing Nice. So this episode kind of goes back and explains what happened to old Nice to get him to that point, and like ties that. And then they go back to like Queen, and when you end the like Queen episodes, she's like driving on the mountainside, and you see this gigantic monster pop up, kind of thing, and that happens to be Big Johnny, which is probably my favorite character in the anime because he's a cat. So you get to see that tied together of like why she's there and why there's this big monster on her vacation, right? And there's this there's this moment at the end with Queen that just like gave me like such chills, and just the way the anime like tied everything together, it was just insane. This episode was so good because of how they just like used it as just like a tie everything together episode. And like I a lot of respect, I think, for me when you like plant like all of these seeds for like 20 continual episodes, and then like a snap of a finger like that, all of a sudden you just like tie all of these different arcs together. To me, it was like very beautifully mastered. And the next arc is going to be Dragon Boy, who is going to be voiced in English by Rico Fajardo, who I had on my old podcast. He also voices the English voice for Lemillion in My Hero Academia. So he's one of my favorite voice actors. So it's cool that the next arc he's going to be like the main character's voice for. So
that's dope.
Yeah, To Be Hero X or Takapi's Original Sin probably has my vote for anime of the year right now. So
okay,
yeah,
that's what's up. I think so far I don't know, it's difficult. I'm really loving Kaiju number 8 so far, and within only a couple episodes, and I feel like it's just going to continue to get better. So I don't know. I know it didn't win because of Solo Leveling, and but I hope it gets one. I hope Kaiju number 8 gets one.
It'd be cool if it did. And I will say, like, Kaiju number 8's still early in it, so like it could flip. Like, To Be Hero X has the benefit of like it's on episode 20 right now, right? So
exactly.
It's had a lot more time to cook with these things. Takabi's Original Sin, even though it was only 6 episodes, was honestly like a masterpiece of 6 episodes. So like it has like a big benefit there of like it's really easy to get like I think on IMDb every single episode's over a 9, but it's like it's really easy to do that when you only have like 6 episodes. I think that kind of plays to its strengths as well. So it's gonna be hard to vote against Takapi's Original Sin right now. If there was an anime that would like usurp my vote from Takapi's Original Sin, it would be To Be Hero X, but I think Kaiju number 8 is kind of like a contender for me too, of like depending on how much it cooks later in like the season 2, it could also be there right up there with To Be Hero X for me. So that's kind of my like top 3 of like where I'm at for the year. Although Gachiakin is like right there too. It's like man,
I know,
if it really
it's only like 6-7 episodes in. It's tricky, man, because like I feel like a lot of times too, like there's the recency bias, right? You know, so many, everyone loved Kaiju number 8's first season, so they were so hyped for season 2 coming out. Same with Den. So like so is recency bias, so who knows how people are gonna vote when the time actually comes. But yeah, dude, all great animes. And when you see like short animes like that, it's like they're doing it for a purpose, right? So like you said, all 6 episodes are going to be fire. Like there's not going to be any, there's not going to be any episode you're like, oh, this one wasn't as good as the other 5. Like, no, they're all phenomenal. So yeah, I can see why you'd be there.
Yeah, such a competitive year though. It's such a
Oh,
competitive year. Like last year, I felt like it was like Solo Leveling versus like Free Ren, and like I was like in the old man like yells at like kids like it should be Kaiju number 8, right? Like so
Dude, I
it's
felt
kind of
like
like a 3-horse race, but really a 2-horse race. And this year it's like
True.
Solo Leveling. Apothecary Diaries is getting
I
like a
know.
lot of like
Dude, I love
rallying
Apothecary
behind it.
Diaries.
Gachiakura, To Be Hero X, Kaiju number 8, Dawn to Dawn, like Takabi's Original Sin.
Right.
There's so many things in the race this year. And I feel like so many things in the race is actually going to kind of like hurt other anime in a lot of ways, because I feel like it's kind of right now, and this will kind of lead into like our main topic of the day, the problem with
I know where this is going. I know where this is
Yeah.
going. Yeah.
I think the main problem we have is right now we have these like camps, right? And this doesn't only exist with Solo Leveling, but I think it's very front and center with the Solo Leveling community right now, is you have Solo Leveling fans and then you have anime fans.
Right.
And you have these anime fans looking at Solo Leveling and being like, Solo Leveling's like a really good anime, but you know, there's all these other good anime, and I'm probably going to vote for one of those. I think they're objectively better than Solo Leveling. And then you have Solo Leveling fans that are like, yeah, Solo Leveling is the only anime ever to exist. Everything else is
yeah, dude, it's pretty bad.
And I think what sums up my problem with Solo Leveling is the community around it. And this is really interesting because I remember back in the day, I wasn't really like super into like the online space like I am now. Like now I'm like really involved with like threads. I'm on YouTube, so I'm, like people there. But like back in the day, I just watched anime and I didn't really like participate in any like online forum, online discussion type stuff. So it wasn't as evident. But I remember back in the day, people would be like, MHA is a good anime, but I hate it because the fandom is so toxic. I was like, well, like, what are they doing that's so toxic? Yeah. And I couldn't get it. And now I'm like, oh, it's probably because the MHA fandom was acting like the Solo Leveling fandom is like acting these days. And I think that ends up being like part of the problem with Solo Leveling. So I guess, yeah, like what have you seen as far as like the Glazers versus like haters on social media with Solo Leveling? Are you seeing what I'm seeing?
Dude, oh, absolutely. It's so true though. I like to consider myself an anime fan, right? Like I can watch an anime and enjoy it for what it is. Like even though you'll hear me talk a lot about One Piece, maybe a little negatively, it's really just more so the fandom. You know what I mean? And it's weird because like the Glazers make it tough, right? I really, really like Solo Leveling. It's one of the animes that I love. I completely understand why it got Anime of the Year. I completely understand why season 2 is probably also going to get Anime of the Year. I get it. You know what I mean? I totally understand. It has a lot of aspects. People, I mentioned earlier, our attention spans are so not what they used to be. So all of the action-packed, action fighting, current upgrades, like anime fans love that. Also, keep in mind, I think a lot of Solo Leveling fans are also a ton of Dragon Ball fans.
you took the words out of my mouth.
Dude, you know what I mean? So if you love Dragon Ball, if Dragon Ball Z is your favorite anime, a lot of those guys are just like, oh, I don't know, man. It's between Dragon Ball Z and Solo Leveling. Solo Leveling's taking over Dragon Ball Z. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that has a big part of it. And it's just like, I don't know. I love talking with people that, you know, can talk about the anime, what the gripes that they have with it, as well as what makes it so beautiful, as well as like, I hate when people are just like, oh, it's all action, it's no story. I'm like, how do you figure? Because for me personally, I'm like, he started off with one major goal, right? And that was to get his mom to wake up. And he finally got to that. And that episode to me was beautiful. Everyone who talked about how they hated that episode, like I was like, oh, I love that episode. It's one of my favorite episodes. Like, could you imagine if your mom was in a coma and you had to do something in order to get her to wake up and you finally achieve that goal? That part is really short. And I love how that when they animated it, they made it a lot longer and a lot more touching. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know. It's like, it's weird because I feel like it's so random, but with Solo Leveling right now, if you're a sports fan, it reminds me of like Dallas Cowboys. I used to think I hate the Dallas Cowboys. I don't hate the Dallas Cowboys. I have nothing against the Dallas Cowboys. I just hate their fans. Their fans make me hate the Dallas Cowboys. You know what I mean? Like, I have no gripe against them. And that's how I feel about Solo Leveling right now. I can watch it, not necessarily it's secret, you know what I mean? But like, I watch it, I enjoy it. But man, the second I get online and it's just like, this is the greatest anime of all time. It's better than this. It's better than that. I'm just like, how are you guys coming to this conclusion already? The second season just ended. You know what I mean? Like, it's wild. It's so wild. And that's like why I completely agree with like you literally just said it, like the Solo Leveling Glazers versus like the actual anime fans. Like anime fans is where I think I fit in the most. You know what I mean? Like, even as much as I love Naruto, I can go through and talk about a bunch of things I don't like about it. You know what I mean? Like, but it's still one of my favorites.
Yeah, and it's kind of becoming one of these things where it's like I find myself more and more by the day hating Solo Leveling and Dragon Ball Z fans. It's like there's some really good ones. There's some really, really good ones that aren't like this at all. So this isn't like every single fan I'm trying to throw under the bus. But at the same time, anytime I make a post where I say I like anything that isn't Dragon Ball Z or Solo Leveling, I get so many comments under those posts of like, Dragon Ball Z did it first. Dragon Ball Z did it better. Oh, Solo Leveling is better than this. It's like,
can you
just
be Goku?
say you like those things without like degrading the other thing. You could just be like, I like Solo Leveling, and they're like, okay, cool, yeah, that's sweet. I like Solo Leveling too, and I like this other thing more. But like, I totally respect your opinion to like Solo Leveling more than that. So it's just like I've never seen so little objectivity out of fans more than Solo Leveling and Dragon Ball Z. It's like even like a kind of more recent example. This is more Dragon Ball Z than it is Solo Leveling. But yesterday I made a post of like, what is your most iconic anime moment? And the post is like blowing up right now. It's kind of overwhelming. I woke up to like a lot of comments on it this morning. I didn't even have time to like respond to all of them. But you know, on there I put that my most iconic moment was Rock Lee dropping the weights in the Rock Lee versus Gaara moment. Because that moment sticks out
to this day.
Like so many people, like everybody remembers that. And there's so many Dragon Ball Z fans in my comments being like, Z did it first and did it better. And I'm like, they did it. They did it. I'm like, Dragon Ball Z does it. Yes, they did it first. That is a true statement. I'm like, but they didn't do it better. I'm like,
no, I was going to say, first, better. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't remember a moment in Dragon Ball Z where they did it. I know they did it several times. I know that like weighted training clothes is a big part of like Goku's character, but like no single moment sticks out in my mind in Dragon Ball Z as much as like that like Rock Lee moment does. And it's like, does Dragon Ball Z have tons and tons of iconic moments? Yes. Goku going Super Saiyan for the first time. Goku throwing a fucking sensu bean to Cell. Goku and Gohan's father-son Kamehameha. These are all iconic moments from Dragon Ball Z. And lots of people commented under my post those moments were like, awesome, like those are great moments. I can totally understand why those are like your iconic moments. But it's just the people that like they got under my skin a little bit. And it's perfect that they did. I'm glad they did yesterday so they could fuel this conversation. But they got under my skin when they're like, your moment is dumb because Dragon Ball Z did it first. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like,
I will find you and I will end you.
Good, right?
Dude, okay, so here's the thing, man. Like, Goku had been using training weights since Dragon Ball. Like, when he took his his boots off and his cuffs off in early Dragon Ball tournaments, and it just dropped to the ground and it makes the little, like, sound because, you know, it's heavier than, you know, what we all thought they were. Great. But, like, that was a thing that, you know, Piccolo has his weighted cape too, same thing. He throws it to the ground, makes the big boom sound. When Rock Lee is taking his off, no one knows what he's doing. No one. So they're like, oh, how much could it possibly weigh? And when he drops those and it like brings down damn near brings the house down, and everyone's like, he's been moving this fast with that much weight on? Yeah, man. Yeah, sure. You can say Dragon Ball did it first, but they did not do it better.
They did not do it better. Also, yes, Angel, ReZero is so wholesome. I love ReZero. One of my favorites.
Same.
So I wanted to dive a little bit back into the story, kind of loop back to what you were saying. I do agree with you. It's not that Solo Leveling has a bad story. To me, Solo Leveling, the issue with Solo Leveling story to me is that it feels like missed opportunity. You have and actually it's kind of funny because I feel like season 1 of Solo Leveling did kind of deserve to win Anime of the Year. My issue with it winning Anime of the Year is people were voting for season 2, not for season 1, because people like season 2 more than they like season 1. And
recency bias.
Yeah, I like season 1 more than I like season 2 because I feel like in season 1 they were doing all of this really good setup to almost go to this like dark kind of like anti-hero, not quite a villain, but kind of like succumbing to darkness main character, which I really, really liked. Like after he kills the I forget what he is, like the association member, I guess, that's like there killing all the prisoners.
Oh, yeah.
And he has that moment, and then he's like looking at himself in the mirror. He's like, I've killed all of these people now because he killed the party that was trying to kill him. He killed this other guy, right? And he's having this like really dark, like going into madness moment in the anime. And I'm like, wow, like this is really cool. I hope they explore this story of like what it's like losing control to the system. And then they just like completely lose the plot with that. And in season 2, it's just like, it's just oro farming. It's just awesome battle sequences. It's just him bringing back his mom, which you're right, is a really beautiful moment. But I kind of wish they went the opposite route. I wish he lost his mom because to me, it would have played to what was a much more interesting storyline in him succumbing to darkness, him succumbing to madness, him succumbing to the system. I thought that was so cool. It's just like, in season 2, they just like don't reference that at all. It's just like he's got complete control of the system. He's got all these summons. He's just dummying things down. It's like in season 1 too. It's like when he's first like learning to use the system and he's like fighting the wolves. There feels like this like real threat that he's gonna like die.
Not make it out.
Yeah. And then it's like, you know, by the time you kind of get to like season 2, it's just like he's so strong. It's like you never really have a doubt that like anything he's fighting makes you feel like he's going to lose, right?
Exactly.
So I would say for those reasons, the story is the weaker point of Solo Leveling to me. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that should take away from like everything else that Solo Leveling does really, really great. Solo Leveling has 10 out of 10 animation. Solo Leveling has 10 out of 10 voice acting in both English and Japanese. Solo Leveling has 10 out of 10 music and sound design. It has 10 out of 10 fights. Heck, I will give it 10 out of 10 for the aura farming moments. Those are always super sick to see. But to me, the story is like a solid like 6.5 out of 10, which isn't bad, but it is like the weaker point of the anime for me. And I think that's why it gets so heavily criticized, because it's like, okay, everything else is a 10 out of 10. And then the story is still a good story. It's just not a great story, to me at least, right? And I feel like a lot of people kind of feel the same way because everything else is so high that it kind of puts you off from the story, because it's like the story should be better if everything else is so great, right?
It's so funny. Ilbermatic, I saw this pop up and it made me smile because when you were done, I was really going to bring this up. It's almost becoming a gag anime. And I was going to say, not quite Saitama yet, but but that's kind of what it's coming to be, because he is so OP. Like you said, you almost lose that like sensation of like, he's not going to lose this. It doesn't matter who he's fighting. He's never going to lose because the system's always going to give him something to win, right? Like, and I think it would be so dope if they went the opposite direction. Kind of how the way they did with like One Note, where like Light, you think he's the good guy, but he's actually really the villain. You know what I mean? Like, so many things, like you said, they could have done where they could have turned him into a villain, because like, who's going to stop him? You know what I mean? They'd have to find some way to do it. Or they don't. He just ends up taking over the world. I have no idea how
we didn't even go the route of like, what if he's the only one that can stop himself? Of like the system's taking over, but he fights the system and he wins over the system to take control of it. But then he has to live with all of the consequences of like he killed all of these different people before he could take control of the system, kind of thing, and he has to live with the consequences of that, right?
That'd be dope. That's a good idea.
Yeah, like I think something like that would have been awesome. It's just like they lost that. And you're right. Like it does feel like such a gag anime. It feels like a One Punch Man or like a Mashal, but it feels like one of those anime that takes itself too seriously.
Oh yeah, it's kind of even like when his mom got the elixir for his mom. When that happened, then you're kind of like, all right, cool. Now what? You know what I mean? It's like, all right, well, I thought this was going to go on a little bit longer, because I haven't really, I'm not caught up on the manhwa. I have, I think, 2 more books to read, maybe. Yeah, sorry, the books are behind me. But I think I have like 2 more books to read to be fully caught up. And one of my boys, one of my friends, he's all caught up. He's like, yeah, there's a lot more that kind of happens that I think you'll enjoy. But I'm kind of in that same boat. It's like, okay, where do we go from here? You know what I mean? Like his mom's healed. She's awake. You know what I mean? So like that was kind of like the main story of him fighting to level up to get everything he needed to create this elixir, and he did that. She woke. So what now?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, and that's why I think like if she died and he descended into madness and then he had to come out of that and like live with the consequences of what he did, it would have been just a much more compelling storyline to me. So it's like the problem with Solo Leveling feels like the fact that it was a missed opportunity to have a really good story, and they went with a much more basic route for it. And I think that that's okay. But for me, as somebody that just loves and enjoys really deep stories, I got really excited for that to be like a potential thing, only to feel like it kind of got lost. So it felt like it could have been much, much better. Yeah. So I feel like it had all, like, it's like Thanos collecting like all of the Infinity Stones, like collecting all of the stones except for the very last stone. And the last stone for me would have just been like depth of story. And to me, the reason I really like Takapi's Original Sin is because I feel like they captured all of the stones. They got it all. They had really good animation. They had really good voice acting. They had really good sound design. And they had this like really, really deep story. And of course, it's really short. It's only 6 episodes. So it's way easier to do that than like a longer ongoing story. But for me, I think that was really impressive that Takapi's Original Sin was able to do that. It's just like Solo Leveling to me just feels like what could have been.
Oh yeah, dude. Story for me has always been like my favorite aspect of anime. Again, I keep bringing it back, which is why Naruto is just one of my favorites. I feel like the story from Jump to into Shippuden, and like I said, there are some points in Shippuden as well that I'm just like, you could have did this in a movie or something, whatever the case may be. But like Naruto is probably the one anime, if not maybe another, I can't really think of any other right now, that have made me cry grown man tears, like, more than a couple of times. Like, am I out there like bawling? No, but I'm like, holy crap, I'm getting like mad teary-eyed right now. You know what I mean? It's like that, like the story is that beautiful, and they do it well with these emotional arcs as well with emotional music. And you're just like, oh man, this is awesome. And story means a lot. Like action's cool. Like fight scenes are cool. Like you can have iconic fight scenes, but like, man, let's throw some real emotional kind of like story behind some of these and some of these characters, and you'll get a lot more out of anime fandom for it.
Yeah. And I feel like season 1 had that and then kind of lost it, right?
Yeah.
Season 1 was like, the moment where the system's like, you have to kill these people, and he's coming to terms with killing people for the first time.
Yeah.
And then Dark Arya starts playing like, this is going to come for me.
Yeah.
And he's like, just like murking people down, and like you have these like deep thoughts. It's like, that kind of got me like a little bit teary-eyed, and like, oh my god, like, like that like shock.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, like he's killing these people for the first time, and the system's making him do this, and he's like feeling guilty and remorse about it. And then they kind of go into like, now he's losing the guilt. He's like, this is becoming easy for me. I'm not sure what this means. Then in season 2, he's just the guy that can do anything.
Yeah, literally whatever he wants.
Yeah, and they just remove all the emotion, right? So what I will give season 1 is like, if a season of Solo Leveling did deserve to win it, it would have been season 1, because it did have that emotional depth to it. And in my opinion, I think I'll be a little bit more upset if season 2 wins Anime of the Year, because they lost that emotional depth, right? And I feel like people loved it so... I feel like people liked season 2 more than they liked season 1. Like, am I crazy there?
Oh, they definitely did. 100%. Like, you're not even a little bit crazy. I think, again, like, it's so hard because, yes, they did a lot of action in damn near every episode. There weren't many episodes where he wasn't using a power, using a new skill. Like, dude fought a dragon, a thunder god. You know what I mean? Like, in the same episode. You know what I'm saying? And now he has both of them at his disposal. You know what I mean? Like, it's so like I think from season 1, I think the creators were just like, yo, I think we got these guys hooked with like the fight scenes and how well we did them all, right? And I think they just made season 2 all about that. They're like, every episode, he's gonna do something so cool. Hell, the second episode or whatever, when he fights the elf king or whatever, and he just kind of like stabs him, and then one of his summons kind of finishes the job. He just kind of like disappears into his like cloak mode or whatever.
Yeah.
That scene was so dope to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think that scene in general was so dope to me, but that's what they did throughout the entirety of season 2.
Yeah.
Like you said, it just lost so much story. And like I said, like after he healed his mom, it was like, all right, what now? And I'm still saying, what now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the season didn't necessarily end with like, okay, cool, they're definitely gonna go in this direction. You know what I mean? Like we still really don't kind of know, unless you read the manga, you really don't necessarily know what's
Yeah.
gonna happen next. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's his goal now?
Yeah, so that's the tough part about it for sure. It's like I feel like season 1 was on to something for sure, and season 2 kind of lost the plot. And if season 2 ends up kind of winning anime of the year again, I think I'll be much more upset than season 1 because I could at least justify in my head season 1. I'm like, okay, there was some really really good moments, and I almost feel like I had like an opposite effect. Like a lot of people were higher on voting for Solo Level season 1 because of season 2, whereas it was like the opposite for me of like if season 1 had only come out, I probably would have been more likely to vote for it. If season 2 wasn't coming out, it's like, oh, all these really cool storylines they set up in season 1, I know they're just going to lose them in season 2, so I don't care about them anymore, so why would I vote for this, right? So
and it helped Solo Leveling so much that when the voting came out, season 2 was like still going on or like just ended. Again, that recency bias, right?
Yeah.
Most people, he said, didn't even realize they were voting for season 1. They thought they were voting for season 2. Like, no, guys, this is a year last year's stuff. Like that's what we're voting for.
Yeah.
But Solo Leveling season 2 and all of its amazing feats are at the top of their brains. So they're just like, oh man, Solo Leveling easily anime of the year. It's like, guys, we're not voting for season 2 until next year. You know what I mean? And like most people, they just don't pay attention.
Yeah. So, but at least there should not be recency bias for this next year's voting because I don't think season 3 will be coming out. But I could be wrong. Maybe maybe they do that every year. Maybe they just start dropping the next season as voting comes out. And they try to win.
From what I hear, I guess there's like I don't even know how because I feel like as much as we watch and as much as how many people watch the anime, I'm not really sure how they're dealing with like budget issues. But from the sound of things, it sounds like they're dealing with some budget issues. So it might not even be until later 2026 or not 26. I think it was later than that. So we might not even get season 3 next year. For what I'm hearing.
That's so weird too, because I wrote like my last note I kind of wrote here is like overhype kills an anime, but money. Like, that's the thing is like I hate when an anime gets overhyped because a lot of those like really toxic fans start to come out, right? Which I get it now that's why people like hate on certain anime. That's why people hate on like the One Piece fandom. That's why people hate on like the Dragon Ball Z fandom. That's why people hated on the My Hero Academia fandom of the day. I get it now. I see it with Solo Leveling of like when things get that hyped, it starts to bring out some of the worst in people. But if I'm that production studio and I'm like, oh, my anime is overhyped, boo-hoo, let me wipe away my tears with all of this money I'm bringing in. Like,
seriously,
if I'm Solo Leveling, I don't give a shit. I'm a play up to that overhype, all that oral farming and glazing and crazy fights all day, because if that's what brings in the money, that's great. But so that's really interesting that my assumption would have been because of how popular it was that the money would have been good. I wonder
that's
where the issues are coming from.
I have no idea. Obviously I also have no idea in a sense, like when it comes to like, Japan and their, their funds or what they're watched, whatever. Like I have no idea how that stuff works. For all I know, a lot of the money that they make from these shows goes into the government. You know what I mean? Like I have no idea. But yeah, I was hearing that they're having some I don't want to say financial issues because that makes it sound like they're not spending their money right or something, but something's going on with like money where they're like having issues. Like they're saying that, oh, it might be a little while before we get to season 3, which is crazy to me because it's so big. It's a huge anime. Even the people who troll and say they hate it are still watching it. You know what I mean? So yeah. But it's funny. I think one thing that I think I've like really kind of learned, especially watching anime for as long as I've watched it. I think I'll even say this in the last like year and a half. I kind of hate the word overhyped or like underrated, and the only reason why is because like. You're a big My Hero Academia fan, right? Like, who am I to tell you that your anime is overhyped? You know what I'm saying? Or whatever the case may be. Like, if you love that anime, dude, hats off to you, bro. Like, love that anime. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I am with Naruto. Like, I get a lot of shit for Naruto because I love it. And everyone always loves to tell me, oh, it's been over for so long. I'm like, so is Yu Yu Hakusho. That's also one of my favorite animes. You know what I mean? I think what just really kills me is not people necessarily saying this or that is overhyped or underrated or whatever it may be. It's really just like the people who love shitting on other people's opinions or other people's favorite animes just to shit on them. They don't even honestly really care. They just want to shit on the fact that you really love an anime that they honestly probably like too. It's just not their favorite. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's one of the things I've kind of learned in the last couple of years. I'm like, shit, if your favorite anime is Sailor Moon, hey, fuck it. Like, I like Sailor Moon too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and maybe overhype isn't the right word, but I think there's a level of like, when anything reaches like a certain level of popularity, I feel like more toxicity just kind of tends to come with that, right? Like that's going to be anything, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
if you become a popular YouTuber, 70% of people are going to love you, 30% of people are going to shit on everything you do, right?
Mr. Beast, like, that's a perfect example. You know what I mean? All this dude does is give out money and like help people, regardless of, oh, well, if he was really helping them, why is he recording? Because that's his job. Like, you know what I mean? Like that is how
the money to give.
That's
to
what I'm
those people.
saying. I'm like, why are you mad at that? But yo, I do agree with you. The toxicity portion of things are crazy. You know,
and I think
mean?
it kind of goes in both directions, right? It's like solo leveling, and this is the reason I use the word overhyped, is because it's become so popular. You reach this level of like, you have the fans that are so hyped about it that they're shitting on everything else, and then on the other side of things, you have the fans that are so upset with the fans that are shitting on everything else that they're going to shit on solo leveling, right? And that's where I kind of that's my like overhype radars. When something reaches that level, that it's so big that the hype for it and the toxicity that's coming with that hype reaches this boiling point that it kind of like it outmatches like the reality of it, I guess, for me, right?
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like I'm super high on solo leveling. I would give the animation, the voice acting, the sound design, like the fights, everything like a 10 out of 10, even if I feel like the story is a little bit
lacking.
weak, right? Like I'm super high on it, right? But at the same time, I'm not so high on it that I'm going to shit on everybody else's everything because I'm so high on it. That's where like the overhyped kind of radar comes in for me, of like when it gets enough of those fans that are like so high on it that they're willing to shit on other things. It's like that's overhyped for me, I guess.
Well, you know what? I completely understand what you're talking about, and it's always the unrealisticness of it, right? I don't know if that's a word, but it is now. But like the unrealisticness of it is always like, oh, this anime is so amazing, it's the best anime ever. You're just like, guys, slow down. Like it's cool. It's cool, but like best anime ever. Come on, like, what are we talking about here? Like, I think like if I were to like to use the word like overhyped, that's when it starts kind of like bugging me. It's like the anime's got one season and they're like, oh, this is better than the big three. It's gonna surpass, and I'm like, let's chill out. Let's relax a little bit. Like Sung Jin Woo isn't even the MC that say like Naruto and Luffy and Ichigo are. You know what I mean? Or even Goku. You know what I mean? Like he's not. He hasn't reached that status yet. You know what I mean? Like. You can have some major fans, but like let's reel it in a little.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I did have one final note on solo leveling before we kind of move on to the Q&A portion. Is like I wonder, maybe it is budget issues. Like, I don't know. I haven't seen the reports, but part of me wonders, and I don't mean to be offensive to anybody that's like seeing this that is from Japan or is Japanese, but I do know that like Japanese people do tend to be very like prideful and really like love their products.
Oh, yeah.
And I wonder if there's kind of like an issue of like solo leveling has hit this like insane peak above a lot of other Japanese products, and it's from South Korea. And I feel like there's a little bit of tension between Japan and South Korea too. And I know even in the anime, they did remove some parts that were a little bit kind of inflammatory towards Japan that were in the like solo leveling manga. I wonder if that maybe has something to do with it too, of like it became so popular and some of like the higher level executives at Crunchyroll are maybe a little bit upset at how popular it got because it's not a Japanese product. It's a South Korean product. Yeah, I
keep forgetting about that. But yeah, I mean, it could be, dude. Like, I have no idea. Like, I just, I probably got to, dig a little bit deeper and kind of figure it out. But when these reports were coming out damn near right when season 2 ended. So I was like, how is this even possible? Like, this anime like surpassed, like it beat some records, like, you know what I mean, like within Crunchyroll and stuff. So I was just like, there's no way they're having money issues. But again, I have no idea. Like there's no way of knowing.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, let's dive into some questions. I'm going to kind of scroll up to the top here. So start here with Kat. Takabi's Original Sin. Do you think there's an alternate universe where the blonde chick's alive? Sorry, I'm terrible at remembering names. I don't know if you're still in here, Kat. I don't necessarily want to answer this question because I would like to ask where you made it to in the anime, and I don't want to give away any spoilers around this question, right?
Right.
Do you have anything to add to that? I feel like
Nah, I'm kind of with you on that. Like
yeah.
it's
What? Because we could construe this as a question. It was kind of to do with what we were talking about at the time.
go
But
on.
I guess like my question off of this is like, why do you think the old school anime felt such a need to include so many irrelevant scenes? Like,
Comedic relief.
yeah,
I think comedic relief, and obviously, like you look at places like Japan and like say Europe, like nudity is just not the same thing for them as it is here, right?
yeah,
Like, so for them, it's just kind of a joke. It's funny, haha type stuff, and they look at it in that light. You know what I mean? It's nothing. Whereas like here, we're like super huge. I'm like, oh no, you can't do that. Like, you know what I mean? So, which is really funny at the fact that it still made it, you know what I mean, to like the US, you know what I mean? But,
yeah,
in Japan, like that type of stuff is just, I mean, like you said, like you see damn near every anime, these little kids, like, you forget they're kids sometimes and they've got, I don't know, F size, bra sizes, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah.
where are these little girls coming from? Like, what's in the water? But yeah, I think that's just what it is, like comedic relief. Like, oh, this little kid is tiny penis, you know what I mean? It's just like this there. But yeah, I think that's what it is, honestly.
What's really interesting about that too is the fact that you have anime like Yu-Gi-Oh and Sailor Moon that when they came over to North America, they changed a lot of things in both of those anime and censored a lot of stuff, both like dialogue likewise, like the story, they changed parts of the story as well as like the animation too. And it's really interesting that Dragon Ball Z never really got that like treatment.
True.
Illblurmatic 365 asks, "What's up, guys? Do you believe the big three anime still continue forward into the next generation of anime fans?" What are your thoughts on this one, Chris?
No, I don't think it does. So it's extremely unfortunate, right? Like the big three are the big three because of their mangas and how they were doing kind of like back in the day, and like they were really kind of holding together, really kind of like Japanese anime, right? But the problem is all three of those anime, I guess kind of with the exception of like One Piece still going on and Bleach starting the 1,000-year war arc, I think eventually with like the new age watchers and like, kids kind of growing up with like new age, like generation of anime, sooner or later, I feel like those three are just going to kind of stop being watched or referred to as the big three until like our generation like actually dies out, because we will always be there to say, no, the big three is Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece, right? Like that's what it is. But I think eventually, like, new age watchers are going to start talking about, oh no, it's My Hero Academia, JJK, and Demon Slayer, or whoever they decide those three are. But I do think eventually, yes, I think it will eventually kind of die out in a sense.
So you kind of highlighted my exact problem with any big three related questions, is you said One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach. For me, the big three is Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, and Naruto. And I think that's exactly it. So you're like, the big three is consistently changing. I think it's really cool. Oh, excuse me. It's really cool we have big three discussions in general. But at the same time, I feel like, one generation's big three is not going to be the next generation's big three. Now, if we're talking about the individual anime, I do think that Naruto still has a lot of popularity.
It does.
Dragon Ball Z, I think, still does as well, although I feel like it's going to start dying more and more because it's like they're not really putting out new products. Like I know they just put out Daima this year. Daima was a fun callback for the old fans, but I don't think it's really like a product that's going to get a bunch of new people into it.
No,
I think Super was kind of breaking the internet when it was coming out, and I think there's some really good manga that comes in Super after what they've animated, that if they do ever animate it, I think they could kind of get some resurgence back. But the older Dragon Ball is just so hard to get into for newer fans that are used to like newer pacing that I don't think it's going to hold up as much. Naruto I think is going to hold up decently, but it does, like we've talked about, it does have its issue with like filler and whatnot that could be a turnoff for some newer fans.
Yep.
One Piece. So One Piece is kind of hard because I feel like of the three that I listed, I feel like that right now it does it the worst, but I feel like it has the plans of doing it the best. What's interesting with One Piece is right now I think it's doing a newer style of animation
Yeah, it
that
is.
is really, really good for people. Like I've seen bits and pieces. I'm not like caught up or anything like that, but I think that it has some value in today's day and age. And I think that they know that. And because they've continued to have relevancy and they say, okay, well, the biggest issue we have right now as a product is the fact that people don't want to go back and rewatch 1,000 episodes because the pacing is so slow and so different from like when we started to where we are now, that they're talking about like, A, they've done the live action that was kind of like a redo. And B, they're talking about doing like a full-on redo. And I think if they did that, I think that they could kind of surpass Dragon Ball Z and Naruto as the most relevant of at least what I would consider to be the big three in today's day and age. So I think One Piece has the best hope of continuing to be relevant.
I agree with that, especially because it's still going. And I think you have a really good point of them kind of like having to essentially redo the One Piece anime without so much kind of like filler and handle the pacing issue. Because if they don't, when One Piece finally does end, no one's gonna watch it again. Like it's too long. And the episodes again from like 1 to, like I said, 300 and something, even more than that, honestly, are just there's not a lot of relevance. There's not a lot of relevance. So like new age watchers are not going to go back and watch One Piece when it's done, whereas a lot of Naruto fans like myself still go back and rewatch Naruto and Shippuden. Still, like you said, the popularity is still out there. So I think if One Piece wants to kind of keep its popularity, they do have to do those things. They've got to keep the live action going, which is great by keeping the story as well as taking out all of the filler and the bad pacing, but also reanimate it so that they also take out all the BS, right? Stop making it so that just to get one episode really in, you got to watch 6, 7 episodes, and that's like one actual episode. You know what I mean? Because like the first 15 minutes of every One Piece episode is just the episode prior with like 5, 6 minutes of new content. You know what I mean? So I do agree with you on that.
Yeah. Next question we have here is, what anime has the worst filler arcs?
Bleach is up there for me. One Pieces suck too. They do. I get it. Like I'm gonna get so much hate. I know for the One Piece. I don't hate One Piece, guys. I actually do enjoy it, especially because I am caught up. It took me a really long
He's a
time.
One Piece hater.
It did take me a long time to get caught up because it takes a while to get through a lot of the stuff that I just didn't like. But I think their filler arcs are pretty bad too. But Bleach is pretty bad. Naruto has a lot, but I enjoy them because it gives you a lot of background on a lot of their characters. You get to see, Kakashi and his team growing up. You get to see, why Obito is the way he is, and you get to see, backstory from the legendary song.
Oh, froze up there. I'll answer my worst anime filler arc while we kind of wait for Blurred to pop back in here. Oh, sorry. You're back. Keep going.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Cool. I think mine is Boruto.
Oh, yeah.
Easy. I've never seen Bleach, and I've never made it past episode 34 of One Piece, right? So I can't really say that they have the worst filler arcs because I haven't really seen their filler arcs. I haven't made it far enough in either of them. I don't really enjoy either of the anime as of right now, although I want to be a One Piece fan, which is kind of funny.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, but like Bleach has just been a no-go for me, kind of always. But Boruto to me, like Naruto, I agree with you. Naruto has great filler arcs. They give you backstory and context to characters you really love. But every time I've tried to watch Boruto, you'll get into the main plot. You'll be like, oh, we feel like we're back. This is Naruto. And then immediately they'll go into like 4 filler arcs, and I'm just like, I don't fucking care. Please stop giving me filler arcs. So for me, my answer is Boruto for sure.
Dude, that's so good. I wasn't even thinking about Boruto, but dude, every time someone like talks really bad about Boruto, I'm like, look, the main story is actually really good, but like the filler kills it. So anyone who just like completely shits on it, I understand. Watch it without the filler. You see a filler, just fast forward it. Just don't even watch it. Just stick to the main story, and you'll be like, okay, Boruto's actually pretty dope. But like, oh my god, the filler is horrendous. I have no idea what the writers were doing or thinking when they were like, we need time to get more into the manga, so we're gonna fill it with this. Like, oh, so bad, so bad.
Yes. No, I agree 100%. Okay. last question we have in chat, guys, feel free to pop more in there. I have a couple written down from threads and other things that we'll go through as well, but this is the last one we have in chat right now. Top 10 or top 5 villains of anime. You want to start or you want me to go first?
I guess I'll start. This is tricky. Let's see. In no particular order, I think Frieza's up there. Primarily just because she's just always around. She's like that main villain, right? He is like that main villain, right? It's just you, no matter what you do, no matter how many times you defeat him, somehow dude just always comes back, right? There's no good in him. He's a completely nasty person, you know what I mean? You hate his guts, right? Like, so Frieza's up there. I think one of the worst anime villains all time definitely has to be Griffith from Berserk. If you've never watched it, watch it. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Dude, just man, horrendous villain, like horrible. Just no thought in getting rid of his team, and then what he did to Casca in front of Guts is just, oh man, that dude's horrible. Let's see, another really really dope villain. I'm forgetting his name from Yu Yu Hakusho. Toguro. I'm forgetting his name, but the major buff dude from like early Yu Yu Hakusho, I think is up there for me as well. All for One is another one that I think is like another really, really good one. Just a completely just despicable, villain as well. I'm trying to think. I actually did a video on like my top 10 villains. I'm trying to remember who was Toguro. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you, my dog. I'm trying to think who else was in that list that I'm just like horrible. And I think from One Piece, I'll give the One Piece fans one. I think Doflamingo is another one that I really just couldn't stand. He was great. He had some great one-liners. Just another really just horrible villain. Honestly, I think so far, in my opinion, he's like the worst villain in One Piece so far. And like I said, I'm caught up. So I'd say those are my 5.
So one of my favorite villains is Bellicuse Roman Ekanti from ReZero. And part of this is kind of going into the voice acting. So first of all, this is the English version. I think that I've heard that the Japanese version is also really good for this villain, but
yeah,
the voice actor Todd Haberkorn that did the English voice acting for Bellicuse was like bone chilling for me, because they have that scene in the cave where he's like stabbing Subaru, he's killing Rem, and he keeps coming back, but he's just like the definition of insanity to me. I don't think I've ever heard like a voice performance like that where I'm like, oh my god, like this like freaks me out, like how like insane this person feels, right? So I wanted to give a big shout out to Todd there, because that was a really, really good voice acting performance that really sold that villain for me and makes it one of my top 5. Griffith is on my list as well. Just like everything you said, it's just super fucked up. And I think that's what makes him a good villain, right?
Exactly.
Is like you have like you can't forgive him, right? And at the same time, I think like especially in the manga, which I'm caught up on and read, they kind of go back to like giving you more like Griffith, and like you can never really feel conflicted because you'll never not hate the dude, but at the same time they kind of try to make you feel like a little bit of empathy for him. It's like the whole like scene of Guts going up and like seeing Griffith talking to the princess. He's like, oh, no man can ever be my friend unless they have dreams and ambitions of their own. And you get that side of Griffith where it's like, oh, this dude will do anything to pursue his dream, right?
Yeah.
And you can put yourself in his shoes and be like, well, I would do anything to pursue my dreams. And then it kind of gives you a little bit of a wake-up call of like, no, I actually wouldn't do anything to pursue my dreams, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's really good storytelling around Griffith, and that's why he's one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah.
I really like Shigaraki. Because A, he's gets super overpowered, but B, I think you kind of get a little bit of like a hero training arc with him of like he has to like train to master his powers, he has to train to get stronger, and he isn't just like automatically OP like most villains are, because there's something that like the main character has to overcome. You kind of get the idea of he's building up with the main character and then becoming this insurmountable kind of like force to overcome. I really like that about him, and I really like that there's some like motivation behind his like actions of like, the heroes weren't there for me when I needed them. I was struggling with my power. You know, you really feel it when he turns his dog to dust. You're like, oh my god, like your heart sinks for him. It's like, yeah, I'd probably become a villain too. Like, have you not seen the John Wick movies? You kill a dog and that's over, right? Like,
right, exactly. Exactly.
So Shigaraki's on there. I think you gave 4. I don't think you gave 5, but maybe I'm wrong. But I'm gonna give 4 because I don't think I have 5. My last one I would give would be Pain. I really, really like Pain.
Oh yeah, it's a really, really good one.
I think when he's like destroying the village, and you know, he's like, "Your pain, my pain is greater than yours," or "This world shall know pain." Like, there's just so many iconic moments with him, and then you get his backstory of how he became that way. You get him and Naruto hashing it out, and then in the end he does the right thing. So I guess in some ways he kind of ends up being a hero. So maybe it's kind of like a cop out to be like, yeah, my favorite villain is actually a hero that saves the entire village. But I really like
good one.
Pain was fun for me, especially because the Pain versus like Naruto in his like 9-tailed fox form, when there's just fucking colors flying everywhere and everything gets all long and crazy. That's like my favorite like animated fights of all time. So
that's one of my favorite arcs of all of Naruto. So yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, so those are my 4. I don't think I have a 5 off the top of my head.
I know, really. I have to go back and look at my video. Madara was another one. If we're talking about Naruto, but yeah, those are some great ones.
There's so many good Naruto ones. My whole list could just be Naruto, but it doesn't look like we have any more questions in the chat here. But I got 2 on my paper. We'll iron them up, and then we'll call her a day here. Thank you so much for coming on, by the way.
Oh, likewise, man. I love it.
My question here, so this is kind of triggered by a thread post that I posted where I asked people which characters they thought had like the best drip in anime. And I got some really good answers, but I got one person that commented just a Gundam suit. And then my question is, does a Gundam suit count as drip?
I'd say no. I'm like, don't get me wrong. All of the Gundams are like super cool, but like I wouldn't really count them as drip. You know what I mean? Like, drip, I'm thinking clothing, and who not only kind of like clothing, but like who kind of rocks it nice, and you know, certain situations where like you know, it's funny you're wearing a Killua shirt. Killua has he's one of the drippiest characters ever. You know what I mean? And like,
don't say that on threads; they'll come for your throat.
That's crazy, dude. But yeah, Killua was super dope. I mean, hell? I'm like, we talked about Sung Jin-woo. He's a pretty drippy character too. He's like, you know, one of the major aura farmers. But you know, in the second season where he's got kind of like the long robe and everything, and it's just kind of all kind of black and purple. Like that's you know, he's pretty drippy as well. But no, I personally wouldn't consider a Gundam suit, you know, drip, not at all.
Yeah, that's kind of my initial reaction too. Like, I don't know if I can like consider a Gundam suit drip, but at the same time, it's like I guess you wear a Gundam suit. They are pretty cool. Like, if you're like, hey, you can have a Gundam suit, I wouldn't say no.
If you have one, if you call it drip, go ahead. So you got it. You got it.
I guess it's like the same way of like, I guess, would you consider like a vehicle drip? Like if somebody pulls up in like a really, really nice Mercedes, and that's like kind of like adds to their outfit. If like they're matching their like Mercedes to whatever their outfit of the day is. Does that count as drip, right? Like,
nah, I still think you're just like greatly color coordinated. You know what I mean? If you jump out of a Corvette, you're like, you know, your Corvette's red, you got like a dope, you know, red outfit on. I'm just like, all right, that dude knew what he was doing. That dude knew what he was doing. The outfit is clean and matches the car. But I'd still be looking probably more at his outfit than the actual card. So
okay, I think we can have a consensus here that Gundam suit does not count as drip. Sorry to call out whoever the person was that put that in my post, but it rocked me. You know, like I was like, I don't know if I could count that. Okay, we kind of answered my second part of this question, but somebody on Threads asked, I guess their username is I am not here 1047. They asked, are MHA fans nerds?
Aren't we all?
I'm
like, my name is Blurred Streak, you know what I'm saying? But like, I guess. But I'm like, I just feel like we all are kind of nerds, right? Like, I mean, me personally, like, yes, I work out. Yes, I'm an athlete. You know what I mean? I'm goofy. I go to cons and cosplay. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, like I'm also into things like Marvel and DC and comic books, you know, manga, things of that nature. Like, so absolutely. I'm a nerd because of everything that I'm into, not necessarily just My Hero Academia. So if you're into
Yeah.
My Hero Academia, sure, I call you a nerd.
I'm kind of on the same page, right? It's like liking anime is kind of nerdy to start off with. Like, I don't think
Yeah,
I don't. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I guess we have like a whole like new generation of anime fans that
true.
maybe like anime is so mainstream. Maybe it's not nerdy to
As
like
nerdy.
anime anymore, right? But to me, it's just like liking anime in and of itself is nerdy. And it's kind of funny because it's like at the end of the day, we're all nerdy about something. Like you take
Right.
me and you are both football fans. It's like the
Yeah.
amount of like Pat McAfee show I watch and obsess over like the off-season moves of like all of my favorite teams and like every
Right.
team is like, okay, that's nerdy. I'm nerdy for football, right? It's
Right.
like
Likewise.
even if somebody isn't nerdy for like the conventional things like anime, you know, like Star Wars, Star Trek, Marvel, superheroes, like Lord of the Rings, everybody's nerdy for something,
Something.
right?
Yeah.
So I would go to a global of like, I don't think that a non-nerd exists. Like, man,
Right.
and if they do, what a boring person.
For sure. And like you said, like you're nerdy about something. Like even like women are, you know, nerds to like their makeup. You know, like there are content creators out there that are all about, you know, makeup tutorials, things of that nature. Like that's
Yeah.
what they nerd for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I completely agree with you. Like I wouldn't necessarily say that, you know, are My Hero Academia. That's so specific, you know what I mean? But you know, I'd imagine if you're a My Hero Academia fan, you're an anime fan in general. You know what I mean? So that's just what you're a nerd for. Like
Yeah.
Ilblurmatic said, there's layers to nerds and blurs. You know, so absolutely, there's levels to this. You know what I mean? There's levels to this. But yeah,
Well,
like
I guess that
of
kind
course,
of springs off like a good kind of like counter question off of this is like, are MHA fans more nerdy than other fandoms? And where I kind of like to go with this too is when you take a look at the like main character Midoriya, I feel like he's probably one of the most nerdy portrayed MCs in
MCs.
anime, right?
Yeah.
He's like super into superheroes. So I think if you're like grew up being like a big superhero DC Marvel fan, I think you could be like, oh, that's my like nerdy self, right? He
Yeah.
gets like the squiggly lines and goes crazy with his note taking when he's like studying things, right? So he's
True.
like super nerdy in that regard. And then the whole anime itself is a nerdy subgenre about a nerdy subgenre. It's an anime about superheroes, right?
Right.
So I guess would you say that it falls under like a layer of like nerdicism that
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
pretty sure that's not a word, but do you think
It is today.
falls kind of
But-
more nerdy than other anime, or do you think what do you think a more nerdy anime would be if you were to like list one? Because I think the way this question's structured, I think that like Naruto would come up as like my like most nerdy of anime when I think of like anime.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree with you on that. I mean, hell, I would even say, you know, Akarun from Dandadan. You know, he's a pretty nerdy dude too. When you know when it comes to like aliens and supernatural and things of that nature. You know, he also
That's
reads
true.
the comic books and you know was before all the alien stuff came down. He was a firm believer in all of that too. So he's a pretty nerdy, you know, character, nerdy MC, you know, as well. So
Okarun's a great example.
yeah, so I think he's definitely up there as well. I guess I'd agree with that, you know, with that statement as, you know, maybe it's one of the nerdier animes because the main character is a nerd himself, you know what I mean? Especially, you know, kind of at the beginning, you know, he kind of I wouldn't say an outcast. I just think, you know, Bakugo kind of made him that, you know what I mean? As he's just like learning his powers and, you know, breaking every bone in his body to use it. But yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Perfect. Yeah, that main character's a nerd as well too. Yep.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. And that's so interesting. You kind of draw that parallel of like Okarun being very similar to Midoriya, but Midoriya, he's nerdy about superheroes, and Okarun is like nerdy about like sci-fi and space stuff. And aliens. It's so hard because, like we talked about with like Dandadan like earlier in this live, of like I don't like some of like the way they handle some like more adult themes in the show, but I can't help but not like the show, and I think it's exactly because of that. Is it reminds me a lot of My Hero Academia, which was like my favorite anime for a really, really long time. I would say it's Hajime Ippo now, but for a really, really long time, My Hero was up there because of how nerdy it felt to be able to put yourself in like the nerdy shoes of that like character. And anybody that like I kind of grew up like more of like a social outcast and whatnot as well, right? Like I was bullied and kind of bullied about being a nerd about that kind of stuff, right? So when the show kind of sets up the main character in that way, it's really easy to like empathize with. So I think that's what keeps me coming back to Dawn to Dawn is the fact that they do like play off of those nerdier themes, and those are really easy to relate to.
I agree.
Cool. Okay, well, that's all I had for the day. I just want to say like thank you for so much for coming on and doing this live with me. It's been a lot of fun kind of chatting back and forth here.
Dude, yeah, man, thanks for having me. As soon as you brought it up, I was like, absolutely. You know what I mean? Like I get to get on, like anytime I can get on, live and talk about things I love, sports, anime, like I'm always here for it, man. So I appreciate you having me.